Hey guys, welcome back to Fleetyards mission reviews, briefing things. I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Cockings, and we haven't worked out the title yet. I think it's just like Orville reviews, sort of. Episode 10, Stuart! What's it called? And let's review.
It's called Firestorm, and this is definitely a Lara Catan episode for sure.
Which I am totally fine with.
Yeah, actually I am too.
She's certainly one of the better characters in terms of her potential arc. Like they've given more time to it, so there's more like what they can do with it so far.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, she's really starting to grow on me as a character, so that's good. I like that.
So Stuart, what were your overall thoughts about this episode? And then we'll do the full scene by scene.
I thought this was a great episode. I really didn't have any issues with this one at all. I thought it was just a great piece of storytelling and a good overall, a good sci-fi Orville episode, which is good. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I completely agree. It was fun, and also not fun in many areas. The payoff was good, although obviously if you're very predictive, you want to go ahead and just predict what could be happening. That's certainly one of the options, but they do leave it open enough that it could be multiple things, which is great. So until the point we realise it, they're like, no, of course. Until that moment, it could be many things. So I really like how late in the game they do that. And the fact that it's very video gamey with different levels and like different challenges is part of the fun.
Yeah.
And there's little things you can notice. One of which I'll mention a little bit that was like, hey, I saw that bit. I have a great cameo and some really great CG. I'll say that the storm is great. The stuff right at the end is really, really great. And she absolutely holds it as an episode, performance wise, really strong.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with all of that.
It's good. Yeah.
What we agree now, so we can't even.
It
was a great episode. It was a great episode. What are your thoughts? Hope you liked it. Thanks for tuning in. Catch you
So
later,
I do long reviews, guys. We want to break down the scenes and talk about them. It's not just about the reviewing. So first scene, we get this cold open of fire. Well, this not the fire part, but the electric storm. Lots of great close-ups of the ship. Really nice CG stuff. The ship is in peril. Classic opening, and unfortunately, engineering gets a little bit busted up, and a crew member gets a bulkhead on him. Very classical Trek, very classical sci-fi opening. What do you think of this? How this episode started?
Well, I thought the ship shots were fantastic. Those first couple of shots of the ship just looked beautiful. And then how Gordon's like, hey, doesn't that look like one of the new screensavers or a new screensaver? I thought that was hilarious because I'm a screensaver junkie, as you guys know. I got a lot of them, and I thought that was just awesome. So, awesome sci-fi opening and definitely a good trope. You know, you're in a storm. There's going to be problems. So, yeah, perfect.
It was a little bit... Because we don't know why they're there or how they got themselves in this situation. Was it voluntary? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they wouldn't go into the storm because they know it's dangerous, but anyway, they're there. It's a little bit techno-babbly start. Like, every line is a thing. And
the quantum phase inducers are failing.
But that's kind of the fun of the scene. It's like, this is a very... We're in the zone of sci-fi moment, you know? And then it devolves all the way down to the character moment, which is as you know, humans are humans, but this bulkhead is actually heavy styrofoam. So they ask Lara to come down and raise it, and she would do that. But then what happens?
Well, there's fire, and she gets kind of scared, and she freezes. She gets, as people do. So yeah, Lieutenant Payne is trapped under the thing, and I thought, the irony of that name. And later that pays off.
I think they might have named him for the joke to work, in fact. All the other way around. I think he was introduced just for the anyway. Yeah, so unfortunately she doesn't get to him in time. He dies. Though we learn later on he was dying anyway, that it's unlikely they could have saved him, so
yes, internal bleeding, he wouldn't have likely survived even if she got that thing off of him, as we find out later. So
but obviously from her perspective, this thing happened and you lost the 5 seconds, 10 seconds, because the engineer's like, what are you doing? This is your one chance. It takes no effort to move it, and yet now he's dead. Of course you blame yourself. I mean, it's at least so it's not a very nice moment,
And she does a nice slide across the console as well at one point, which is very action starry.
I will say that I was trying to predict a little bit the episode here.
I was too.
My feel, I was hoping the episode would go this route, was that the storm would negate her abilities, and so when she slides over, she tries to pick up the thing, she has no powers anymore, so she'd fail either way. There's an episode of it's an episode about she becomes so weaker than human, now she has to assess herself with no power, no strength. That's why I thought the episode was going straight from the offset. I don't know the way it was setting it up.
She doesn't really have powers, but
No,
yeah.
but you know, I mean, it weakens her structural mass, so she can't do anything that strong.
Sure.
So that's probably a season 2 episode where she loses her strength. Yeah.
I can see that happening, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So next thing is the eulogy in the Shuttle Bay, missing crew, dead crew member, and Chief Newton makes a joke out of his last name and explains how they were best friends since summer camp.
8th grade, yeah.
Yeah. And I thought the joke was a little harsh, but at the same time, if he would have appreciated that humor like I would, that's fairly appropriate, I think. So I thought it was funny, and then the Lieutenant Payne thing really paid off for me, so I thought that was awesome because I thought the same thing when I heard his name.
Yeah, it's one of those things that they know him best. So, and he's been if you've been his best friend for 35 years, you're allowed to make a joke that that you know him.
Yeah.
And everyone's faces was great. Even though we don't know him, he's just a no one character that's been introduced. You felt the scene. I liked that, and certainly Lara's face is like, oh. And clearly at this point you realise it's about her. You don't know necessarily how much it's about her, but this is an Lara episode. And then next scene, she's in the boxing ring, fake boxing ring, and she classically, destroys the boxing thing, which is a trope of frustration. But again, same costume as the previous episode, so it's something she does. So good callback to itself.
Yeah, and it's same thing with that scene. I said, looked at Sylvia and said she's probably going to destroy that punching bag in a second. Yeah. All of a sudden, oof, yeah. Anyway, and then they want to talk to her, so they end the simulation. And they're talking to her about how unhealthy this is, and it's not her fault. He would have died likely anyway. Mm-hmm. So don't beat yourself up too much about it, or the bag.
Yes.
And I love how Gordon and John come in, and they're like, okay, yeah, we'll leave. It's fine. Why even have reservations? We have it reserved for 3:00.
It's 2:58, guys. I mean, we've got it booked.
Yeah.
Look at the timesheet.
Yeah, that was awesome. You got to wonder how. Even on Star Trek, how reserved the holodecks actually are.
Yeah.
Because I would think they would be in use all the time. So.
Yeah, and we do get a nice long shot of the environment simulator, which is nice. Very Star Trek, but yet quite different. Yeah, so that was a nice touch. And
then Bortus, of course, comes in. Am I early?
He looks incredible.
He does.
That's like, as an actor, that's like a proud, this is an awesome selfie moment. When you're an alien in period dress, I laughed out loud at that because it's a simplicity of joke. He's the butt of jokes, but they're so contextually correct.
Bortus is just amazing. I just love his reactions to everything.
It's like obviously there is the Worf in him, but boy is he the funny version of Worf. They take Worf because Bortus isn't really the warrior in the same way. He's just a strong officer, so he gets to be that more broadness, and they get to do this comedy with him, which is great.
Yeah. And the next scene, of course, he's writing up the letter for Lieutenant Payne's parents, and Gordon's kind of like, it's kind of short, Look at this first line. He was a neat guy. And I love how Seth turns to him. I'm not a writer. Yeah, kind of are, but anyway, that was a funny scene. And I think the same thing. It would be hard to write those kind of letters all the time as a captain, especially when you don't really know the guy personally. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can kind of sympathize with that.
But it's obviously an episode about Lara. It's good to have these other scenes because they give you extra character beats to other people. Learning these things, learning how they feel and how they react to things. It's important to help them all grow. And it was Ed's not that sort of captain. He doesn't like doing that, as no captain should.
Yeah, so he ends up asking Gordon to go ask Kelly to write the letter, and he'll fill in the blanks later.
Yes.
Oh,
that's great.
Yeah. So Lara comes in and she wants to hand in her resignation because, of course, she feels she's failed and she can't serve as an officer on a Union ship because of that. And we've seen that before too. I want to hand in my resignation in Star Trek, and the captain tries to talk her out of it. And they have a nice little chat here. Mm-hmm. How situations come up where things are unpredictable and you can't always. So I thought that was great. The way he dealt with it, actually, it was very human. He did, when he came aboard 6 months ago, he didn't think that
he was skeptical.
She was old enough or whatever to handle the position, let alone the whole security department. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was great.
Yeah, and it adds to the... You can see, because he says that she's the only one that he would want defending her in a very hostile situation. You can see that these little beats that she would then latch onto after she's more level-headed to think, he really respects me. I mean, talk about he's the only one that likes her strength. I mean, clearly he respects her in all the right ways. So I'm interested to see where that might go. Even if it's not reciprocated, it'd be an interesting plot line. And then we get the great cameo of the episode. Good old Bob Picardo looking a bit strange.
It's cool that he's Lara's dad, though. That's really neat.
Yes, because I saw his name in the titles. I was like, oh, nice. Where's he going to be? Didn't know when he could because we don't have a storyline yet. And that was a great little part. And it implies that they're going to keep bonding. Because I recognise the woman as well. So having important people. I mean, to be fair, so was Ed's parents. They're both known actors. So I guess if you have all lead characters have known people, then there's an excuse to keep having them back because that's a really great. I mean, Bob's a very good. I say Bob because I met him a couple of times and he likes Bob. And, he's a very good actor at certain things, just totally believable. And
I love their conversation here with her. Like, you should come back and finish your studies. Not everybody's as smart as everybody else. Like, she's kind of like a failure almost.
Yeah, that was
I think they're more academic on their planet, and she went a different route. So that was awesome. And then she says something about the humans, and he's like, humans, the hillbillies of the galaxy. I thought that was a classic line. That was good.
This show is great at seeing alien perspectives properly. How does each race see us? Us now and us then. That's really important because it is this grand scheme of things. This whole universe. And it certainly has a lot of a backstory for her because obviously in her world everyone is super strong, which means everyone is normal strong. On
her planet, they're normal strength because
that's what I mean.
Gravity. Yeah.
So her abilities are not abilities. So if she's not the best officer, if she's not the best intellectual, and if they're all smart, then she's a failure. Even if you're slow, you can still do good things. But if she goes out to the Union, she's useful in many situations. So that was a really nice beat.
And then we get a really weird scene.
Now the plot begins, and it was fun.
The freaky clown man.
Who is?
I gotta admit, he's pretty terrifying.
Especially close-ups. When it isn't just a dude in makeup, they went really far into it, like a creature clown, which is really nice. And it's a corporeal clown. It actually hits her, bashes into her, and then disappears. And this is when the questions begin, obviously. And boy, are they good at not giving us answers for a long time. And that's really strong, I think, in this. Because it could be anything. That's a great thing about sci-fi. It's not just Michael Myers. It's a dude in a mask. Or Scream. It's one of the characters we know. You know what I mean? It could be anything at this point. And obviously Lara's like, I'm crazy. She goes to the bridge, says, I'm crazy, Ed. I'm crazy, Cap. He's like, if you think you're going crazy, you're probably sane enough to not be actually going crazy. So let's trust you and your officerness and check records. And oh damn, there's actually a clown in the corridor, and boy Jamal does not like clowns, I think is sane because I don't. Not like I fear clowns, but I don't want clowns around me personally. Especially not that clown. That clown I would shoot with a laser gun. Like I'd shoot him with stun.
And here's some Family Guy writing comes in where they're like, we should be wary of pies. Yes, pies and seltzer bottles and balloon animals. We should be wary of everything. Everything clown related.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. It was great.
It's true. An alien that's corporalizing as clowns, the weapons would be everything a clown would have. So it's a totally logical sentence. Yeah, as a juxtaposition of reality to not reality, why not have a villainous clown on a sci-fi show? It's a really strange concept. Why the hell not? It was very nice. Yeah. So what did you think the plot was doing at this point? Because this is the opening the floodgates of what is happening. What did you think?
I wasn't sure yet. I really didn't have anything in my mind yet, but soon I have a theory that I kind of put forward, and then it turns out to not be the case, and I really love that. I love when I can't really predict things. Yep. And we'll get to that when that moment struck me, but right now I was like, I don't know what's going on. It's probably something wrong with her, like mentally, and then she's projecting. That's kind of what I thought at this point. But
so you went literal with where the story was taking us. I know, well, it's not, but I thought it was something to do with the cloud, because in classical TNG, and Voyager, there are creatures that can live with energy. I assumed that one lightning bolts transferred an energy being onto the ship. The ship was either in the entity was either in the ship in holographically creating it, or it was in itself a creature that could corporealize. I thought it was something physical, but that was from the nebula, or the nebula had affected her. But it was something to do with the nebula, which was great because you assume they set up the nebula. That's really important.
Yep.
And that's great. It was a good. So I thought I knew where it was going, and I didn't. So then they need to scale the ship, and it's interesting how the pace keeps changing, and the tension keeps like changing throughout the whole episode. And I think it's very well handled actually for what it is. It lets each scene breathe but not overshadow. And for a 43-minute episode, there's a lot of different types of scenes, which I really appreciate. So they're searching the ship, and they get into Shuttle Bay, and predictably, the lights don't turn on. Oh no! Very classical horror. And the clown's there. Lovely little fight scene. Great close-ups of the clown.
Especially when all the little streamers and stuff pop out of his... Like
Those
the frilled lizard from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we're thinking, okay, it's an alien clown, must be. And it even picks up the gun and starts shooting, so we're like, damn, this is a real thing. But it keeps disappearing, and the editing's really good there. And it disintegrates a box. She gets the better of him, gets a gun, and disintegrates it. Wonderful effect. Disintegrates it. Oops. I haven't actually seen it, but whichever. Disintegrates it, and obviously we're thinking, well, it's not gone, obviously, although it was gone. But what a weird, what a weird scenario. What?
Yeah, that's what I thought too when that happened. I'm like, she disintegrated it, so now she has no proof that it existed. Well, I mean, they had the readings that it was a human.
Yeah, which was weird. They actually detected human life signs that disappeared. It's like, okay.
But yeah, the fact that she disintegrated, and then she explains it in a minute that he had set her gun to disintegrate.
Double kill.
and she hadn't had a chance to fix it because I wondered why she disintegrated it. I didn't consider that he had changed the setting, but anyway.
Yeah, that's why he shot the box first. That was a specific. We did it first, so you can call back to it. And then they talk about it, and it's like, we don't know what the hell this was. We need to be vigilant. What did you think at this point then? Because again, really, they said a human life sign. They gave us all the clues we need to try and work it out. But what's the?
Again, I thought it was, the storm had affected her somehow, and she's projecting things, perhaps, like physical reality from her thoughts or something. But yeah, I really wasn't trying to be predictive at this point because I didn't have enough information.
Okay, so that's unlike you, which is why I assumed you'd have like 10 ideas at this point. I like that you didn't because we're on the same track.
Well, I'm saying second time around. I was thinking, well, if I was watching this again for the first time, what would be a good story point here? And I thought, projecting this. But the first time I really wasn't thinking about that.
Cool.
I was just really enjoying it. So
good. Yeah, me too. It was a hell of a good ride.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the next scene's very interesting. They decide they're going to have drinks, so Kelly's going to go and get ready. And she steps out of a door, and this scene looks very, 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 very familiar. Only put Picard almost falling out of that door.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Well, yeah, and later on, I'll mention it now because you mentioned TNG. Throughout the entire episode, I got the vibes of when Beverly Crush was in the miniverse where the ship's closing.
That's exactly what my one theory was coming up soon.
Yeah.
I thought she was in some kind of static warp bubble because she was in engineering. And I thought once everybody disappeared off the ship, it's just her isolated in this thing and they're trying to get her out and she doesn't realize she's in it. That's exactly what I thought.
Yeah, and we'll reiterate that then because it does keep changing. But I was like, the vibes I'm getting us because at this point the focus she's in every scene, and it's not quite her show at this point. They do a good job at having these other bits, having these other people. So you think it's an ensemble piece, but it really isn't. And like I say, that's very good editing because you're not sure, even though she's a player, she's not necessarily causing it. Very tightrope there to do. So yeah, this thing happens that proves that it's not just her because obviously Bortus didn't see the clown. This was a one-person incident. Okay, they did see something. They both saw it. It could have killed her. Physical mass was changed because she was hanging. There was a flaw there. No, there wasn't. So obviously something is going on. It is definitely physical. But Ed, for geniusness, he says, maybe, or we're all crazy, and it's a mass hallucination, which is very clever of him. We could all be stoned. So he goes to the doctor and says, is that possible? And she's like,
well, only two of you experience physical symptoms. And then Bortus walks in. There's an alligator in the cargo bay. I've crushed it with a chair. What happened exactly? Regardless, it is crushed. Which is, I loved it. And the alligator's never mentioned again. I mean, at the end when they go through the list of things, it's never even mentioned again. But it's just hilarious, this scene.
Yeah. And I will note, at this point, I did actually... Claire, she's filmed a little bit differently, and her makeup is different.
Yeah, I noticed that too.
And I was like, okay, she looks different? That's a bit weird. So I appreciate that you can tell. They did something to be something. I was like, that's something's different about her. Doesn't look right.
Just her whole demeanor and the fact her jacket's undone, and yeah.
Which is good job for them. Yeah.
So now she wants to do brain scans, and she wants to have a Lara. So it says it'll take about 20 minutes to do this brain scan. Lies are on the table, and all of a sudden there's restraints. And I'm like, oh, she can break through those, no problem if there's an issue. Nope, they've been reinforced specifically for her. So, yeah. What did you think about that?
Well, it's like, oh, this is turning into a thing because the Doctor's mannerisms are so like, just be still, dearie. I'll take good care of you, and it's like, oh. Yeah. But then all things are fine. The nurse, because everyone's gone to lunch at the same time. That's obviously the first clue. She's like, yeah, it's fine. Everyone's gone to lunch. And the nurse walks in. I'm like, okay, cool. There is still sanity on the ship, and he's like, oh, should be restraints. What the hell are you talking about? That's ridiculous.
Nurse Perk. Yeah, we were introduced to in the last one.
Yeah. I mean, you need a good nurse like a Gower. I mean, you should. So he tries to undo it, and then bam! No, shot dead by the Doctor. And we're like, yeah, this isn't going well. This is not a good. No.
And she wants to perform surgery, but Lara, super strength, breaks out of the restraint and like grabs her by the throat and whips her across the room. And I'm like, damn! I'm like, holy shit!
There is some great stunts in this episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Some really strong stunt work. Yeah, and then we go sort of burning through this, but yeah, we cut to the brig, and wonderful performance by the Doctor.
Yes.
Very odd, and this is when you think that we're turning into something else, because now we have a character. Is it either who's been changed? It's not really the same character. An alien's inside her. That's why I assumed at this point. I thought that was an obvious solution. And the way she mentions, you don't know what is really out in the dark of space. Again, I thought that gave more evidence to those being in the cloud. It went inside her now, because you don't see the entire episode, and she could have been doing stuff to people. So it certainly links. And again, the episode's trying to tell you what to think by not telling you what to think.
Yeah, and then she goes up to Lara and goes, and it's coming for you. And she touches the force field and does the which was cool. That was very well done. Also, I gotta hit on a point that I really liked in this scene. Yeah. I'm hungry. Can I have a pizza? And Bortus like, what kind of pizza? She's not getting a pizza.
Yep, very Orville dialogue, and what would happen? Because again, think from their context. She's a friend. She's been known for 6 months. Bortus would obviously want to help. Why wouldn't he? But he's like, no, she's a prisoner. Yeah.
It would have been funny if they would have said, what kind of pizza? Better not be Hawaiian. Hawaiian is evil.
No, it's good. Lovely. Yeah, good scene. A bit of a weird performance. I think it was trying to be sort of ambiguous still, because she didn't really hit upon one. Like, she wasn't playing a baddie. She wasn't playing an alien. Like, it was kind of an ambiguous performance with a bit of menace, which at the time I wish was more very distinct.
It was very childlike, sense. The way she was sitting on the bed and kind of and talking. It was very childlike, and I thought, that ties in with the clown a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I wasn't sure what was going on.
Well, it was kind of all over the place, but that was the point. It was, yeah. So back in the brief room, everyone's deciding what the hell's happening. Was anyone thinking about a clown? Is this really a mental thing? I mean, Claire's gone crazy, but is this recreating it, maybe? Yeah, or maybe we all died in the storm and we're in Purgatory now. What's Purgatory like? You ever been married? No. It's like that. That was harsh. I was like, come on, guys. But that means that... But the fact they both were on the same joke and the same tone, that shows their relationship's evolved. That's the last episode. They can make those jokes in the same way now.
The way this one played out, though, with the reference to the 6 months and just that line in particular, I thought this one was maybe aired out of order and should have been earlier. That's what kind of went through my mind at this point, because it just didn't seem like a natural evolution from the last episode. But, then that does happen with production things and stuff. Well,
look how much CG was in it. I mean, this one would take more to make than the other ones, than the last couple. So I can imagine. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So we get a wonderful set of spiders, and I thought, damn, that's good CG. Like, very...
And this was the one episode of Orville that Cassie sat down on the couch to watch with us, and she hates spiders. So at this point, she's like, is it over yet? And we're like, no, not yet. This poor girl. She wanted to watch it with us, and now she's traumatized by Orville.
Excellent. The horror episode makes sense. Yeah, good scene. Ed's afraid of spiders. They run out. They open this cabinet with guns in. Great insurrection reference / just it makes sense. You have cabinets all over the place with, med kits and weapons. Pulls out a gun. They come back and there's nothing there. And everyone's like, this is really screwy. But we need to look around. We need to see what's happening. So everyone have guns on them all times. And let's investigate the whole ship and see if we can, Oh, and they also didn't they say at this point we need to go back to the cloud? Yeah, that because it was the only thing that's happened recently is the cloud. So it must be linked to that, even if we just get a clue. But the ship can't survive it probably again, so we need to work some deflector modifications to actually enhance it to last a little bit of time at least. So they're heading back to the cloud, maximum quantum drive. Hey, I got it right, quantum drive. That's where we're going, full steam ahead, or not.
So her and Gordon are going to, check things out, and all of a sudden the door opens. He sees gaping maw, and it's this huge spider, and I'm like... Looked over at Cassie, and she's already hiding again. And I felt so bad for her because she's terrified of spiders, and this was an ugly spider.
Yes, giant space murderous, pretty wonderfully done CG spider, actually.
Amazing, yeah.
And the way it hit all the walls and stuff, yeah, really good.
Yeah, the way they utilized the corridor to have it running, I thought that was fantastic. And anyway,
then,
short eats Gordon.
Yeah, oops. Now, at this point, we're obviously thinking, well, he's not obviously dead. So what did you think? Are you still on the whole, she's hallucinating? I think I was more on board that she's hallucinating it now at this point.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. But then the next scene where she's walking through the corridor and she's trying to contact somebody and there's nobody answering. This is where I'm like, oh, she's isolated in some kind of something that happened in engineering as a result of the storm.
Yep.
Like I said to Sylvia, static warp bubble or something. Static quantum bubble.
Yeah.
And that's what I thought it was. I really thought that it was shrinking in on her, and I was going to be the same kind of thing. And I'm like, oh, that's kind of a rehash of, I do that. And I was kind of disappointed at this point, but I'm like, we'll watch it and see how it plays out. So, yeah.
But again, you think you know where it's going. I think the entire time we know it could be a holodeck. Like, that's obviously a potential, but they're not leading into that with the amount of other things they're giving us, which is good. It tells us what to think, even though we think we're being clever at knowing what to think. And I appreciate, she kneels down before she walks around. She's having to respond to this because she's lost him.
Yeah.
Another person, and she's like, I couldn't do anything. But she deals with it slightly stronger. She's like, okay, moving on, next step. We've got to, she's obviously learning to deal. She's having to deal with so much rubbish. She's learning to deal with it better.
Yeah.
And this is the sort of bad day that you just got to keep going. If you're a strong person, you just got to keep going because it's not going to get any better unless you make it get better.
Yeah. And she heads up to the bridge, and there's no one there. She starts looking around the ship, and all the lights are out. You got the storm outside with lightning, and it's very haunted house vibe.
Yes.
Dark, scary. Flashlight, storm outside, lightning strikes. Weird shadows.
Yep.
That's why another reason I thought this was aired out of order, because I thought this would make a good Halloween episode, and I think maybe it was supposed to be a little bit earlier in the lineup, and just had to get pushed back because of production issues. So,
yeah, I absolutely agree. This is clearly a Halloween episode, and I will say they actually got the tone very strong in those scenes. I mean, the emergency lighting. I kept thinking, because I do a lot of CG, some internal stuff now, thinking if you look at the walls, the orange lights aren't actually lighting the walls at all because they're so weak. It's just so you can see where the walls are, not so it's lighting anything. But to see out the window every time, you kind of feel claustrophobic because you're trapped inside this nebula. There's no power. You're running out of time. It's actually a very strong scene. Again, the CG was really good in this for its sort of subtlety. So you always saw it out the window. It was always present. I think a few too many rooms. Like it didn't need. Like they obviously had. Somehow they paced it so strong to have half a minute to spare of just wandering again, and that shows good time management because they had time to spare somehow. Then she gets to engineering. Lights are all off, but there's great orange hue, which is different to outside, and tonally something different. And then turns around and then boom, Isaac's there, and I'm like, oh okay. interesting. Few / huh. I mean, it would make sense he's the one to survive, but interesting.
It's also super creepy and weird, and I'm thinking, okay, so if she's in the static warp bubble, maybe maybe she's trapped in a computer or something in engineering, and he's trying to get her out. That's why she's seeing him, because he's interfacing with the computer on the outside.
Okay.
That's kind of what the vibe I was getting here. And anyway, she mentions that Gordon's dead, and he says, well, we got to do this before the creature returns. And she's like, I didn't tell you about the creature. How'd you know that? And then they have a huge fight, and they really kick the crap out of each other. He's hitting her with a beam, and she pushes him through the railing, and oh my god, it's a fantastic fight scene.
Yeah, they do a great job at it. And to give us some sense of danger, yeah, it was good. And I guess that set is designated we're going to throw people around set, because it's not the first time it's happened there. And they threw Isaac against the wall last time. I guess they're all nice, spongy things that you can push people into. At this point I was thinking, okay, so the anomaly might have changed him, because electricity changes biomolecular, it changes programming, he's done something, maybe he's put everyone somewhere else, that sort of vibe. Because it's interesting, although he was still being normal-ish, like it wasn't too far off what he would be at the early point in the scene anyway. But again, very interesting, and I liked that we're refocused on him, because he's a very interesting character, or at least has the potential to be. And also when you run, if you look at how he is, he's a almost human with just 2 eyes. That could be quite scary. And in fact, after she beats him up enough to run away, she's trying to go somewhere else. She sort of turns, boom, he's there again, and the eyes go to red, and it's like, oh damn.
Where she opens up the locker, gets one of the rifles out, which looks very Star Trek. And I wrote down at this point, when she takes her jacket off and she's got the undershirt and the rifle going through the halls, looks very B'Elanna Torres. It looks very much like from Voyager. Quite a few episodes where she had just the undershirt on and the phaser rifle. Even Janeway, with the macro virus and stuff, where the ship is all dark and very much a Voyager vibe. These scenes.
Well, this is kind of a Voyager episode.
Yeah.
For what it is, yeah. Great introduction of a rifle. Awesome. Good note. And the fact they don't use them often implies something special, like they are really heavy duty. I mean, the fact that, and she mentions when they're in this confrontation, this rifle at full power can kill you. That's a pretty damn powerful rifle, because Isaac's race are hyper advanced. That implies this is like a rocket launcher of a weapon. It kind of has a shotgun vibe as well. Great little introduction there. Yeah. And I got a very Sigourney Weaver Aliens vibe, when she's wrapped it round, walking through the corridor, like strong female heroine. There's a few really good ones, and definitely the macrovirus one, very, very similar. Really nice tonally, great design, although very Mass Effect, but great extrapolation of what you can do.
Yeah, it's a great design for a rifle. I'm really liking it. So
so she blasts Isaac. So at this point, there's evil Isaac trying to kill her. The ship's deserted. They're in a field that's going to destroy the ship. We're in a pretty dire situation. And then she's running. She loves to run in this episode. And then what happens, Stuart?
Well, we find out that it's actually a simulation, and they're actually viewing it from outside from above the environmental simulator. I really love that vibe that you can watch what's going on in there and kind of monitor things. I thought it was really well done. But at this point, I'm like, oh, okay, this all makes sense now. Why is she in there? So I thought it was all maybe a test, like an officer training test or something. And I wasn't sure where it started, if it started with the storm or...
Which is nice, because it gives you the answer, but you're wondering, well, she obviously, she doesn't seem like she knows what's happening, otherwise there'd be no point to it.
Yeah, she's not having fun.
Yeah, she's not having fun. So, yeah, which is great. I mean, and also it's one of those things where when a show can use its own universe, we've got this holodeck. Use it then. You know what I mean? You don't. Yeah. It's that simple, and the solution to why she doesn't remember is really clever. We'll get to that in a minute. And very simple. Again, just using the universe. There's no well, it doesn't make any sense. It's like, okay, A to B to C, boom. And like I say, if they hadn't have made you guessing the whole time, problem with the holodeck obviously is that there's no risk. And they mention the subroutine 38, which she initiated.
Directive 38, yeah.
And I thought straight away, oh boom, that's safety protocols. You know, she's in this situation, she can be hurt, and that's the risk thing. You know, she has to win because she might die. But no, what is it?
Well, knowing the Union officer's manual as I do, I thought she was no bare feet in engineering. Like, seriously?
What?
That's the directive she instigated? No.
Well, she wasn't engineering, so yeah.
Directive 38 was basically an override for the security officers in case the captain becomes influenced somehow by alien influence or extreme drunkenness, and if they if they misuse this directive, it can actually end their careers. It's like a last ditch kind of thing for the security, which I thought was really neat. It is good to have that kind of override for a captain's orders. Because we all know that captains can go crazy every once in a while.
Or be really, really, really drunk.
Yes.
Or both.
So yeah, Isaac says he can't shut it down because she initiated this directive. So
it's legal. Yeah.
It has to play out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, they could get in trouble for shutting it down. So
yeah. As a concept, it's like the doctor can override on medical grounds. I mean, why the hell couldn't a security officer override? And if there's a wrong call, you get fired. So you've got to be sure. That's a really good initiative. It's one of those things where, when Picard in TNG was taken to that, he was taken over, where he was swapped with the two other aliens, when he was taken, his real version was taken, then the other ones he wasn't. And Riker was gonna court-martial if Orford had the ability to do this. It would have been like, he's not right, boom. So you don't actually have to mutiny, you can legally mutiny, if there's a good enough reason. That's a really nice touch, and it actually broadens the world somehow. It makes you feel more thought out. So yeah, she's got to win the scenario to get out of it. And again, wondering, but that doubles down the video game vibe. It's there, but it's not overblown because it's like Isaac's this last big boss. Well, I'm wondering, what's her play next, because the crew's gone. How can she save the ship? How what is the character's strategy now? She doesn't know what's happening. So I was kind of surprised her next thing was go to the shuttle base. I'm like, oh, you're going to escape the ship?
Well, with Isaac trying to kill you, no one else on board to help you.
But you don't know that, though. Without power to scan, without power to communicate, I mean, the ships, they could all be in one room. Could all fit in a room, but I was kind of like...
a bunch of dead bodies piled in a room. Isaac killed them all. Oh.
That would have been a great scene, or a great shot. Just the side of the shuttle.
That would have been terrifying.
Yeah, they probably should have done that actually, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
And they could have been zombies. He could have been. That would have been a great. If they had like 10 more minutes, they could have been zombies. Like another.
Yes.
That would have been really cool.
Yeah. Well, I gotta say one thing too about set decoration here. During the episode when they're at red alert kind of thing, the spiral staircase going up to the bridge is all lit in red.
Yeah.
As opposed to the normal blue. I noticed that. I thought that was great. I just wanted to point that out. I missed that beat earlier, so I apologize. But anyway.
The colour scheme really reflects the mood. It works really well. Even the shuttle bed's a great full shot where everything's lit orange because they're in yellow alert. That's what I said early on before they all got stolen. And there's this great moment she's trying to press the buttons, and then we see just behind them the red eyes in the doorway. That's genuinely quite a creepy moment. Like, shit. And
then the next flash of lady's gone, and I'm like, okay, so is he there or not? And all of a sudden, right behind her, grabs her and
with another flash of light. Very, very well put together scene. But she managed to get. Well, they both smash through the window, and then they have another little fight. She kind of wins, gets in the shuttle, and then what's his last play?
He puts an explosive canister right in front of her and blows it up, and himself as well.
Probably, yeah.
Well, yeah, he blew back when it exploded.
Okay.
So, yeah, I noticed that the second time around because I wondered that the first time. I didn't really catch it. These are worth watching again, guys.
And I assumed it was like a destroy the ship, but it wasn't. It was a fire explosive. It was petrol. And so I was like, well, that's not really causing any damage to the ship. But that's not the point.
But it's cyclical. It ties in with the fire at the beginning and her story with the parents where she was a baby and there was a fire and she her cries or what alerted her mother. But anyway, yeah. So it was a nice facing that fear kind of thing. So,
because she'd been bolstered by the whole episode, she was ready to face it.
Yes.
Which was the point, which was really nice. So she escapes it, and the CG here is glorious.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Normally, the ship gets blown up. Normally, when you see an explosion like that, it's really cartoony. It's really, But no, it was like little bursts, destroying little things. We just linger on it, very slow, no dramatic music particularly. Like, it's a very real moment for what is a fictional scene, you know?
Mm-hmm. And I expected the ship to just explode and be gone. But no, it's just like you said, the warp rings all break off, and the main body of the ship's still there, just floating. I expected that to blow up at the end,
like,
but
it gets killed, not vaporized.
Yeah.
It's like in Discovery when the ship blows up. It's a very like boom, 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 boom. Like that. That now seems more cartoony to me now. You know, this was a really tangible death. I really liked that CG. It was very nicely done. Again, the nebula was really well done. And then now she's alone on a shuttle in space. A whole crew dead. Whole life.
And then game over, man. Game over.
But she
Simulation
wins.
ends. And I love how she was kind of up and the shuttle disappeared and she kind of falls forward.
Yep.
Like, that was really
great.
well done.
Again, great effects, great visualization of the concept, and she is genuinely bloody shocked, which is great
and hurt too. Like she's wounded.
Yeah.
Like the safety protocols were off. I don't know if she could have died necessarily, but she's pretty messed up.
Yeah.
And then we find out that it was all their fears. You know, John was afraid of clowns. Ed was afraid of the spiders. Gordon was afraid of what was Gordon's fear again? Oh, the surgery. Surgery, yes, because he had a skin tag removed once, and it's terrifying.
And Kelly was afraid of heights. No, Doctor was afraid of heights. Sorry.
Yeah, and Bortus was afraid of Isaac being defeated by a superior foe. I am feeling very, or what did he say?
Self-conscious right now.
Yes. May I leave?
and Ed's like, yeah, sure. What? It's great. Just, he always steals the show with his very simple
Bortus.
lines.
Yeah. Bortus is awesome. I want to see more Bortus episodes.
Yeah. No, seriously, he's great. And yeah, so they're all saying it was made by Isaac, but why would Isaac put her through such a horrible ordeal?
He didn't. She made him.
And ordered him, full on ordered him.
Mm-hmm.
Why though?
Even though she wanted to face her fears and overcome her fears and make sure that her parents didn't lie to her about anything else. That's what she said at the end, because she went to Ed's office afterwards and said about the fire, and he asked her, was there anything else, and she said no, but she wasn't convinced that her parents told her the truth. She thought they might be lying to her, so she wanted to do this program to make sure there's no other fears that she had.
To be triggered by anything else, just in case. Yeah.
Yes.
But if she knew about the test, how is it a good test?
Oh well, the doctor, short-term memory eraser.
And she ordered her to do it as well.
Deleted it.
Yeah, I'd lied to her as well about what it was. So full on, like, ordered something. It was great abuse of power, but a very sort of it makes sense way.
Yeah, and even Ed said, I should be court-martialing you right now for what you did, but because there's nothing we could do, we had to stand by and watch it.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was. I don't know. It's a little bit too extreme, I think. But I mean, that's very much a B'Elanna Torres kind of thing that she would do. Turned off all the safety protocols in the holodeck and do orbital skydiving and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think it worked.
You can't test yourself if there's no real test. And again, like I said at the start, it's all in universe. I mean, if you don't know, if you can just memory wipe yourself by half hour, don't know it's a test, it's actually a worthwhile test. But it's totally safe because you're in a holodeck. I mean, that's a really obvious, simple concept. It's like, well, yeah.
Yeah. And at the end there, where she crawls into bed and they kind of zoom in on her face, I'm like, something scary is going to happen. Somebody's going to jump out and scare her or something. And no, then I said the most terrifying thing of the whole episode, that Seth MacFarlane's an executive producer.
Yeah.
That was the payoff. Underneath her. Yeah, exactly.
Boom! Seth MacFarlane. Oh. Yeah. And it just ends on a nice little moment of she sleeps peacefully.
Yeah, she has a little smile on her face, like I can handle anything now. It's time for some sleep. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give this episode 9.5 out of 10.
Ooh.
I thought this was a really fun episode. I love the Halloweeny aspect of it.
Yep.
Lara was great in it. Like I said, her character is really growing on me. We did learn a little bit about each character because we learned about what their fears are.
Yeah.
And seeing Isaac as a bad guy, I mean, same with Data.
Yeah.
Once they go evil, they're terrifying. So I really love this episode. Great CG as well. The establishing shots in the storm and in the end. Great episode. Just overall package just was really good.
Any weak points? If you were to, we say the weakest element. Do you think?
Oh, the weakest element. I don't know. Give your review and I'll think about that.
Okay. Yeah, strong. I mean, everyone did good performances. Everyone had good motivations. Everyone had, even though they were obviously holographic for most of the episodes, everyone had good beats. You learned, like you said, learned a lot about everyone. And this is how you learn to like people. You little bits them over time. You grow with them as the show's showing you them. And I like that. They give us little hints, like the makeup being different, so you feel like you knew what was going on. All the potential alternate storylines which were going on, so there is actually a sense of threat, because if you knew it was a holodeck from the start, all the scenes would be less strong, but the way they play it is very strong. I'm sure some people will obviously go ahead and think, no, it's a holodeck. They show us a holodeck early on to reiterate to once we have them.
Yeah.
That must be what it is, but if you don't have that mindset, like neither of us did, it really does pay off. Like I said, Isaac was great, and yeah, really strong, and yeah, fun, and I'm surprised how good the pace and the editing was. Like it lingered where it needed to, but it didn't overindulge anything, and a really broad variety of things, from the horror monster to obviously the clown to the although we didn't have any jump scares in the haunted house bit, but that was good. Like you didn't need that. Like so they could have had zombies, but they didn't have all the things, which was great. Yeah, I mean, it certainly wasn't like the best thing ever, but for an Orville episode, really good in-universe episode, good sci-fi, and yet just about humans. Like, it was just about people, because at the end of the day, it was just a character using technology to explore herself. So it wasn't even this big sci-fi concept. It was really just character-based, driven. And it was also a bottle show. And that shows you what you can do with a bottle show with characters. This is why I keep trying to tell people, I know you need to have those other cool episodes, but this is really good. Really, really good. Yeah, I would say 9.3, 9.5 probably, but it wasn't like a moment, but it was always good. So yeah, I think 9.5 is probably appropriate, or a 9, somewhere in the 9-point region.
Yeah. See, and the fact that I still can't think of any really weak points I think speaks volumes. I just really enjoyed this episode overall. I really can't think of anything. Not
even the reveal or the payoff at the end was bad. Like, it was, that makes sense. That's good. That's
and I love the twists and turns they threw at you, where you think, it's this or it's this, and it's not.
Yeah, it's really good.
Yeah.
And again, it feels like a season 4, season 5 TNG episode, with how refined and how well established the characters are, and really incredibly done to be only 10. That's only 40 minutes each. There's not even 10 hours yet. I mean, seriously, they've really got into their stride very, very quickly. Well done, Orville. You're proving why you need to be on TV, for good characters and good story, and you still feel good at the end of it because you like the people and you like her journey. You like knowing that she's grown, and yeah, awesome job.
I agree. So what do you guys think? Did you like the episode? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to click like on this video if you enjoyed it. And if you want to help us out to make more videos like this, or all our other content, you can do so by heading on over to Patreon, which is our monthly donation service. You can click the link in the description below to take you there, or head on over to Trekyards.com, and you can click the big donate button there and donate a one-time donation if that's something you'd like to do, and we would really appreciate that. So
we would. Or if you want to support this show just the nice free way, you can of course share this channel, this show, with anyone and anywhere you think fans would enjoy it, because we put a lot of time and thought into these things, and I think we're quite balanced and fair and just have fun reviewing them. Even if we might be sometimes critical or even just love it, we try and be fair. And Orville is a really great show and definitely worth a watch. And again, look at the improvement from episode 1 to 10. Steady improvement. Steady improvement. That's what you really want to see from a show, because it can go anywhere from here. So share this show to show that people love Orville, and hopefully we'll do more episodes and more content and more of us. So until next time, guys, here's the what are you scared of, Stuart?
I'm not going to tell you that.
Oh, okay. the ambiguously scared Captain Foley, and I guess I won't say either ambiguously scared Connor Coggins as a terrible extro. See you next time, guys. Bye.
Bye.